What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for Go Bucs Nation and, of course, Go Bucs fans, it's your time. Remember, like and subscribe to the new show here on the Fan Arch Network and Bucs Latest. So let's get into it here. And the news of the day, Bucky Irving, according to Joe Bucs Fan, has had shoulder surgery in the offseason. In fact, according to this report, Irving has undergone a procedure on his shoulder since the season ended. Per the report, the recovery process is not expected to significantly impact his participation in the offseason program. Now, it was a disappointing year for Irving as he dealt with not only a shoulder injury, but also ankle injuries and missed 7 games from week 5 to week 12 as his production definitely dipped for this Bucs offense from over nearly 1,100 yards his rookie season, over 1,100 yards of rushing to 588 average yards per carry, 5.4 his rookie year. Of course, being injured, 3.4 yards per carry. Now, this is very concerning because first it leads questions to what will the Bucs do? How will they proceed with this situation? Now, it certainly seems like Irving is definitely the reason why this offense struggled last year. You look at the rankings when it comes down to it, the Bucs in 2025 were ranked 23rd in the NFL with averaging 99.1 rushing yards per game, totaling out to 1,684 rushing yards on 396 attempts. Go back to 2024, and they were ranked 14th. Under the Liam Cohen offense. So what gives? Of course, it was the injury situation. It was a lack of having Irving. Irving can be one of the most talented runners in the league, especially when you get him out in space. What also is concerning is the situation with the Bucs, with their running back room, with Rachaad White likely going into free agency as he's burned every bridge with the Bucs this offseason, and also Sean Tucker being a restricted free agent. It remains to be seen if they pick up Tucker, if they re-sign him or not. There may definitely be some interest out there from other NFL teams. I know this for a fact that the organization sees a lot of potential in Tucker as much as they see in Bucky Irving. It also makes you have concerns about, is Irving really a third down back in this league with the injury concerns he had last year? And we know that Zach Robinson wants to use Irving like he was able to use Bijan Robinson. Now, don't confuse the two, but of course, both backs are very important to their offense because once again, you've got to be a balanced offense to take the pressure off of Baker Mayfield. So this is some concerning news. We'll definitely monitor this on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. Now, let's move on to Mike Evans. And this, according to Sporadic here, when it comes to Mike Evans and his salary, this was really interesting. Before I get to that, I want to throw this question out there. How concerned are you for Bucky Irving and the injury situation from 1 to 10? And do you think the Bucs should not only re-sign a Sean Tucker, but also either go out there, get a Tyler Algier in free agency, somebody like that, or draft somebody in the later rounds? Put the comments in there on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. Now, let's move on to Mike Evans and the salary that he's predicted to get in free agency, as it has been a big-time story this offseason, whether Mike Evans will come back to the Bucs or will he go somewhere else. Well, Sporadic has him at an annual base of $13.3 million, and they had the prediction of 2 years, $26 million. So $13.3 annual salary. If you're a Bucs fan right now, if you're Jason Light, are you signing Mike Evans to a $13 million contract a year? Absolutely. 2 days on Sunday. 2 ways. Absolutely taking that deal in a heartbeat, especially with Evans and what he can do with this offense while being healthy. Now, this prediction or this evaluation, as they would say, is comparable to that of Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl champion. Congratulations. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, and Devontae Adams based on age, contract status, and statistical production. and would give him the 27th and 28th top contract among NFL wide receivers. Now, how important is it for Evans to sign a type of deal like this? Would he want more? Would teams be willing to give him more? According to CBS Sports.com, their prediction is the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen to sign him to a multi-year deal here to give Josh Allen that number one weapon, which he hasn't had here in the last couple of years ever since Stephon Diggs left. Now, don't tell Steve Smith that Mike Evans may retire. He was on the 89 with Steve Smith Sr. podcast, and he had this to say. He says, with Evans, his regular hamstring issues, and co-host James Palmer responded to Smith with almost a shame on you tone. You always bring up Evans' hamstrings. And then Smith stopped in his tracks and he got defensive. The hamstring reference is done in reference. You know why I bring it up? Because he still gets the damn 1,000 yards even with the injuries. It's not hate. It's more of just like saying to understand if he was able to play 17 weeks, he'd probably be averaging 15 or 1,200 yards for the last 11 straight years. I keep bringing that hamstring issue up to make sure people understand and respect Mike Evans as a beast, bro. He's a flat-out beast, and he does a lot of his work and misses games. So Smith also added that Evans is a player he never wants to see retire, and he went on to highlight how much other Bucs receivers benefit from Evans' mere presence on the field, especially Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin. He says the third or fourth quarter on defense is dog doo-doo, and Emeka Egbuka is just going to work him, and that's exactly what happened. And if you put it into context with Mike Evans, why he could be a first ballot Hall of Famer or already is a first ballot Hall of Famer, of course, the 1,000 consecutive receiving seasons tied with Jerry Rice. And look at the quarterbacks that he's done it with consistently. We're not talking just about Tom Brady because people will say Tom Brady, but that was only for 3 years. You have Baker Mayfield, of course, but Jameis Winston, Mike Glennon, Josh McCown. I mean, these are not quarterbacks you're writing home about. And still, here's a player that's getting it done year after year. And to Smith's point, it's a guy that's had hamstring issues throughout his career. So could you imagine if Evans could stay healthy for most of that? He would probably be averaging more. And this wouldn't even be a conversation of him being a first ballot Hall of Famer. So to answer your question, Bucs fans, I say hell yeah. $13 million a year from Mike Evans, 2 years, $26 million. Jason Light, get Jason Light on the phone. What do you think, Bucs fans? Put it there in the box. Sign Mike Evans to 2 years, $26 million. Is he worth more? We'll definitely talk about this more and more as free agency approaches here in the next couple weeks. Speaking of free agency, is Bradley Chubb once again on the radar for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, this came down today as it looks like the Bradley Chubb era in Miami is over as the Dolphins are set to release the veteran pass rusher, according to multiple reports. The Dolphins originally acquired Chubb in 2022 in a trading first and fourth round picks along with running back Chase Edmonds to the Denver Broncos, by the way, former Buck, in exchange for Chubb and a fifth round pick. Then he signed a 5-year, $110 million contract extension, and it was looked upon that he would stay with the Miami Dolphins until 2027. His base salary at the time is $18.5 million, and it counts $31.5 million against the cap in 2026. So the Dolphins are looking to cut ties with him rather than bring him back at that number. He's still 29 years old. He'll be 30 in June. And, of course, he'll be a free agent to any team. Last year, 8.5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Of course, coming off that dramatic knee injury in 2024. You look at his overall numbers here, 48 sacks for his career. And they also went more inside the numbers here. The figure ranked tied for 20th in the NFL, but he tied for 40th in pressures at 48, checked in 68th in pressure rate at 13%, according to True Media, and his 11% pass rush win rate per Pro Football Focus. But they say that was below average. But still, again, 29 years old, Bucs need somebody $12 to $18 million if you're not able to get a Trey Hendrickson, if you're not able to get a Max Crosby. Is this an option? Well, CBS Sports says it is. The Bucs tried to juice up their pass rush last offseason by adding Hassan Reddick. It didn't work out. They could take a similar flyer on Chubb, who at least has been productive more recently than Reddick, who was coming off a lost season in New York and Philadelphia when Tampa signed him last year. Listen, at the time, I know a lot of Bucs fans wanted him. I feel like they're saying he's over the hill, but he's 29 years old, 30 years old, 8.5 sacks. If you put Chubb on this team right now, he actually leads the team because Yaya Diaby had 7 sacks. So is Chubb an option? Bucs fans, Bucs Nation, do you want to see the Bucs sign a Bradley Chubb in free agency? Put that in the comment box. And we will definitely move on here to the final item of the day. And this was from Sports Illustrated. I thought this was kind of interesting to come up with. And you can kind of play along here, Bucs fans that are watching Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. Hope and mope for the Bucs in 2026. Now, what they say here, the hope is Tampa Bay has one of the league's most talented offenses, helmed by Baker Mayfield and populated by Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Bucky Irving as his weapons. We didn't even mention a tight end, possibly Cade Otton or somebody in free agency. And I think that's what a lot of Bucs fans anticipate, especially with Zach Robinson taking over as an offensive coordinator. That's most likely what should have happened in the second half of the year when you had all these guys on the field together. That's the dream scenario, to get Baker Mayfield back to that MVP type of level quarterback. Now, the mope is the Buccaneers defense ranked 19th in yards and 20th in points permitted, and the front seven doesn't have any substantial young talent to build around. Now, to this point, we've talked about the defense and how a lot of Bucs fans have moped around about Todd Bowles still being the coach because he is the defensive coordinator, and how the defense suffered, especially in the second half of the year, only having 12 sacks. It's not going to get it done. We always talk about it. But as far as young players, Elijah Cansey has to stay healthy. He's a young player. Yaya Diaby is still young. And once again, can the Bucs go out there and make a splash? Can they get a Max Crosby? Can they get a Trey Hendrickson? Can they draft somebody in this upcoming draft? Absolutely. There's far more things to mope about than this. I understand where Sports Illustrated is coming from, and I know a lot of Bucs fans would mope about Todd Bowles still being the coach, but just to check here, it is February 17, 2026, and Todd Bowles is still the coach. So if you're going to mope about something, yes, you can definitely talk about the lack of pass rush. You can also talk about the inside linebacking situation. Savasi Dennis, not very good. Levante David, who knows if he's going to come back. Even if he does come back, he's not the same player he was 5 years ago. So there's definitely some things to mope about. But to say that, the Bucs don't have the defensive talent, I don't know about that. Let's hold off on it. Let's see what the postseason brings. So what's your hope? What's your mope about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2026 here on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network? Let's wrap it up right there. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Remember, like and subscribe to Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for Go Bucs Nation, go Bucs fans, it's your time. We'll see you next time on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. As we always say on this show to end it off, Go Bucs.